Joseph Cotten was a film, stage, and television actor who arguably remains best known for his role in Orson Welles' classic Citizen Kane. Several decades later, Cotten lost his voice and was forced to retire from acting in the years leading up to his death. Join Facts First as we explore how Joseph Cotten lost his voice completely in his final days. Joseph Cotten's early life. Cotten was born May 15, 1905 in Petersburg, Virginia. He grew up in a middle-class family with two older brothers, Whit and Sam. Joseph's comfortable upbringing allowed him to explore his creative interests at a young age. He became interested in acting in high school, and this led to him attending the Robert Hickman School of Speech and Expression after high school. While attending, he managed to support himself financially by working part-time as a salesman. He could also be found playing football. The young man had grown into quite the physical specimen, and his height helped him get roles when he came out to Hollywood. Cotten wandered America for much of his early 20s, continuing to work part-time as a salesman while searching for acting gigs in Washington and Miami. In Miami, he became a theater critic for the local Herald and also started up a gig working as an actor at the Miami Civic Theater. He worked there for 5 years before heading to Boston. He arrived in Boston in the late 20s and continued performing on stage, taking on acting gigs at the nearby Copley Theater. Joseph worked for years on stage. Cotten had accumulated quite a bit of acting experience over the course of his early career. He was able to get even more experience in 1930 when he moved to New York City and began working as an assistant stage manager. He went on to become a fairly notable performer on Broadway, taking on roles in productions such as Absent Father and Jezebel. His entertainment career was coming to fruition, but he became temporarily distracted from his dreams of stardom when he met the woman who was to become his first wife. He married Lenore Kipp Lamont in 1931, and they remained married until 1960. Soon after the wedding, they were wanting for money. Because of this, he took up some extra work on the radio. It was during his radio days that he first met Orson Welles. Welles was working in radio around the same time, although Orson was around 10 years Joseph's junior. The two developed a close friendship, and Orson would begin directing Joseph in a number of plays. After putting on a few productions together, Orson Welles opened the Mercury Theater. Joseph then joined the director's official theater troupe and appeared in multiple productions under him during this time. Joseph Cotten's friendship with Orson Welles. By the end of the 30s, Joseph Cotten and Orson Welles had found a great deal of success with their productions at the Mercury Theater. This allowed Orson the chance to sign a contract with RKO Pictures that gave him an unprecedented amount of creative control over his movies. That paved the way for Orson Welles to create his masterpiece, Citizen Kane. When it came time for Orson to start creating pictures, he carried over the cast he had accumulated while putting on plays at the Mercury Theater. This included Joseph Cotten, who found himself playing a major supporting role in the movie. Before that, Cotten received a great deal of critical acclaim when he portrayed the male lead in the Broadway production of The Philadelphia Story. It saw him starring alongside Katharine Hepburn. Sadly, Joseph wasn't given the chance to reprise his role for the play's Hollywood adaptation, as he hadn't yet proven himself as a Hollywood star. Instead, the role was taken over by Cary Grant. Still, his performance in Citizen Kane that same year proved he had what it took to make it on screen. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Joseph's work after Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane was a major critical success, and many still consider it to be one of the best films ever made. It may be the most memorable thing he ever starred in, but it's certainly not the only memorable feature starring Joseph Cotten. In Citizen Kane, he played Jebediah Leland. The character was a drama critic. Joseph's character was a good friend of the film's titular character, played by Orson Welles. Cotten went on to appear in the 1942 picture The Magnificent Ambersons. This gig cemented Joseph's status as a star to look out for on the big screen. He then got the chance to work with director Alfred Hitchcock in 1943, with the actor appearing in the legendary filmmaker's classic Shadow of a Doubt. The same year, Joseph also appeared alongside Deanna Durbin in Hers to Hold. Joseph's work alongside Durbin proved he had what it took to be a romantic interest on screen. The next year, Joseph got to play the love interests of both Claudette Colbert and Ginger Rogers. Joseph wooed Claudette in the film Since You Went Away, while he charmed Ginger in the film I'll Be Seeing You. Both of these were released in 1944, and they further increased his rapidly growing cinematic profile. The 1940s was Joseph's biggest decade. Joseph Cotten starred in many more notable pictures over the course of the ensuing 1940s, with just a few examples including Duel in the Sun and The Farmer's Daughter. Duel in the Sun co-starred Gregory Peck, while The Farmer's Daughter netted an Academy Award for co-star Loretta Young. At the end of the decade, Joseph worked with his old friend Orson Welles again in the classic film The Third Man. This was released in 1949, but sadly Joseph's career prospects started going downhill after the decade was over. While Citizen Kane is undeniably Joseph's most well-known film in general, his leading role in The Third Man is undeniably his most iconic turn. Joseph appeared alongside Bette Davis in the 1949 film Beyond the Forest, which is widely considered to be one of the actress's worst films. That same year, he also worked with Alfred Hitchcock again on the film Under Capricorn. That film is generally regarded as one of Alfred's least loved. The poor reception of these films had little to do with Joseph Cotten himself, but it certainly impacted his career. The 1950s proved even less successful for Cotten than the 40s, with the actor continuing to lend his talents to dismal films. A bright spot during this decade came via his performance in the film Niagara, which also happened to star newcomer Marilyn Monroe early on. While Joseph didn't find much success on the big screen in the 50s, the small screen was another story. He began appearing more and more on TV dramas, becoming a favorite on anthology productions like Celebrity Playhouse, the Ford Television Theater, and General Electric Theater. Joseph Cotten's tragic end. During the mid-60s, Joseph Cotten worked with Bette Davis yet again on the horror film Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Following this appearance, he only appeared in a few films before his 1994 death. Those included the film Tora, 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 as well as the 1977 blockbuster disaster film Airport 77. Tragically, Joseph was forced to give up acting altogether towards the end of his life as a result of medical issues. Around a decade before his death, Joseph Cotten lost his voice entirely as the result of a laryngectomy. Despite the fact that he met a tragic end, he lived a long and fulfilling life of 88 years and will always be remembered for his work. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of Joseph Cotten? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else.